Did the Chiefs break the curse wheel? Is the NFL Network's Peter Schrager the devil? And what does this year's script say will happen in the Super Bowl? I have all the answers you need. This year I can personally thank the Swifties for hacking into the NFL systems and stealing and sending me the script on my phone. They've been so cool to me, I almost want to pull for the Chiefs. But I won't. Today, I'll reveal the secrets. That's good sports. Today's episode is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy, and oh my god, I have huge news with Underdog. Colorado Pick'em Champions, now available in our great state, as well as Tennessee. This is a peer-to-peer version of Pick'ems, and if you get the most correct picks in your contest, you win a share of the champion's prize. But what I love is now I have the option to pick stat totals and not just fantasy points. This is amazing for me. Touchdowns, touchdown receptions, passing yards, rushing yards, they're all finally available in Colorado. It's almost as amazing as Underdog's Super Bowl giveaway, all right? All you need to do to qualify is have a verified Underdog account, and Underdog, for that big game, is giving away $1 million in Underdog credit. $1 million. So sign up at Underdog with my link below or my code THATSGOOD so you qualify for the milli. Make your first deposit and they will match you up to $100. Code THATSGOOD. Sign up at Underdog with my link below now. Super Bowl 58 has kicked off in the desert, and the 49ers have deferred. And the ball belongs to Kansas City, who embarks on a long 12-play drive that has them inside the 5-yard line. Up in the booth, CBS color commentator Tony Romo is hoarse, suffering from a pounding headache, and nursing his 4th bottle of Gatorade Zero. Last night, he made the last-minute trip down to the Bellagio. He was convinced that since he can call football plays before they happen, he can also predict hands on No Limit Texas Hold'em. It's not working. After 6 hours at the table, Romo is fed up. After the dealer suggests he fold them up for the night, like his Cowboys in the playoffs, Romo defiantly snaps back with his trademark catchphrase, "I don't know, Jim." The dealer is not named Jim. The dealer's not even a man. 2 security guards whisk him away from the table while Romo shouts, "Do you know who I am?" They do not, but somebody in the casino recognizes him as Jessica Simpson's ex. 3rd and goal on that opening drive. Andy Reid has saved his most convoluted play for the Super Bowl. In the huddle, all of the Chiefs have switched jerseys, and when they line up, the 49ers defense is unable to tell who is who. Suddenly, Pacheco is the center. Mahomes is wearing number 87. He's lined up at fullback, and Kadarius Toney is ready to take the snap. The ball goes right through Toney's hands and is recovered by Fred Warner. The 49ers get their first big break. Enter Brock Purdy. Few people realize that he was the last player taken in the NFL draft. Something I thought people would point out. But in this game, he is more relevant than ever. He's the last player left on earth who can go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes. Kyle Shanahan usually scripts the first 15 plays of the game, but he feels that's not enough in the biggest game of his life. He's scripted every offensive snap, and so far it's working. But the NFL's got a script too, and in Las Vegas, the house always wins. Again, that saying does not extend to the Las Vegas Raiders, who are hosting their division rival in their own stadium, and also their former Cross Bay rival. Brock Purdy goes deep. In a shocking twist of what seems like fate, the ball bounces off of Brandon Ayuk's hands and into the arms of L'Jarius Sneed, and the 2 teams have traded turnovers on the opening series. The NFL is nervous. This is the first time they've held a Super Bowl in Las Vegas, Sin City, a den of debauchery and peevish delights. They're so worried about the players getting into trouble that both the 49ers and Chiefs are staying in hotels far away from the main strip, 25 miles off the beaten path, but it's not enough to keep everyone in line. A contingent of Chiefs players are too confident in their own victory, and they decide to begin celebrating before the game is even played. They will set off into the night, taking Ubers to the Las Vegas Strip and not arriving back at the team hotel until the crack of 8 a.m. the next day. Keep that in mind. Now, last year, Patrick Mahomes was dealing with a high ankle sprain heading into the Super Bowl. And when I made this episode 1 year ago, I predicted he would win Super Bowl MVP anyway, and that the vilified referee Carl Cheffers and his crew would give Kansas City a favorable call late in the game. Both those things happened. This year though, Mahomes, he's healthy, albeit a little out of shape, chubby, fat, Patrick Mahomes, obese.
My snacks. Yep, there it is.
Call it what you will. Unhealthy, tubby, soft, gooey in the middle, pudgy, lard boy, doughboy, barbecue belly, dad bod, hefty, quarter fat, pot bellied, Bud Light bod, beer belly, dumpy, paunchy, supersized, rotund.
We ain't done yet.
Well padded, bloated, buxom, flabby. Say what you will. He's still quarterbacky.
No one tell my trainer this or the Chiefs. I just got on. I used to be a Cool Ranch guy, but now I'm on the purple bag.
Will he win his third Super Bowl MVP award, becoming the first guy to win 3 straight Super Bowl MVPs in their appearances? Well, I'm gonna tell you in a little bit. This was the first season, though, if you recall, Travis Kelce failed to have 1,000 receiving yards since 2015. Conversely, this was George Kittle's first 1,000-yard receiving season since 2019. You may remember the insane 2018 tight end season that had Kittle and Kelce going back and forth as they were both on pace to break the single-season yards record for a tight end. Kittle finished on top with 41 more yards and the record at 1,377. And while Kittle had the better overall season, Travis Kelce is smoking that Swifty playoff crack, and he's hot right now. The 49ers couldn't slow down Sam Laporta, and while Kittle is forced to block for half the snaps, something Kelce would never do, Travis will lead the Chiefs. All the ball catchers once again in receptions and yards. Pretty crazy, the tight end that goes off script the most is following this one to a T in the Super Bowl. Now, this is not an accident. The NFL wants to cut to the luxury box every time Travis touches the ball, but instead of seeing his girlfriend Taylor Swift, they will get a consistent dose of Jason Kelce. Except this time, Jason is in on it, and each time we cut to him, one more piece of clothing comes off, until we see more of Jason Kelce than Janet Jackson ever gave us. Now, the Chiefs' offense in this postseason is actually outproducing themselves, producing more yards and points per game than they did in the regular season. That's scary because playoff football is usually harder. Not for the Chiefs. It's like Andy Reid and Mahomes zone out if the difficulty level isn't at the hardest setting. But it's their 127 rushing yards per game this postseason that's helping them control games. That's up 23 yards per game from the regular season, which doesn't seem significant, but that probably translates to 3 more first downs per game via rushing. It also shows Andy Reid's commitment to sticking to what's working. You know it kills him every time he has to call in an 8-yard run instead of an 8-yard pass. Calling runs takes more years off of his life than every cheeseburger he's ever eaten, which he's also clearly now sharing with Mahomes.
Explain it again with those nuggies.
A year ago, Kadarius Toney made one of the most important plays in the Super Bowl, that punt return, okay? It reminded me of Malcolm Butler picking off Russell Wilson on the goal line, only to be inexplicably benched by Bill Belichick for the Super Bowl 3 years later. The dirty secret about the Chiefs is that they've been better without Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore on the field, both of whom scored touchdowns in their Super Bowl victory a year ago. Maybe that's not as shocking as I initially thought, but I digress. The offense has been more streamlined, not having to rotate through a bunch of wideouts and sticking to the main core of Rice, MVS, and Justin Watson. All players who can make plays without a bunch of trickery and elaborate window dressing beforehand. New father Kadarius Toney should be good to go for the Super Bowl health-wise, but he will mysteriously suffer a phantom injury on the first snap of the game, an event that will both allow Chiefs fans to say that Mahomes is playing without one of his top receivers, when in fact the offense gets to remain significantly better. And he learned from Bill's mistake. Butler was benched, and the Patriots lost. Tony will start, but not play. We've got some X factors to consider. Drops or fumbles. Both the Chiefs and 49ers are here because Josh Reynolds couldn't catch, Jahmyr Gibbs fumbled, and Zay Flowers fumbled on the goal line. All uncharacteristic plays by those skill players. In my opinion, Kansas City is more likely to see one of their skill players make a mistake based solely on the fact that that's pretty much what happened all fucking season until this team got into the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes hasn't thrown a pick since Christmas. He will throw a pick in this Super Bowl. Unfortunately, I see Deebo Samuel or Christian McCaffrey making the big calf in this game. A fumble, a ball bouncing off their hands on a routine screen where they turn their head too soon and it goes to the Chiefs. If it is a fumble, it will be Justin Reid, not L'Jarius Sneed, punching that ball out. The only thing I guarantee won't happen is Isiah Pacheco fumbling. That dude is just too damn solid. Mahomes versus Purdy. It took just one season for all of us to suddenly be unimpressed with Brock Purdy. And we did that despite the fact that he improved in every key category. He got the 49ers back to the NFC Championship game, stayed healthy, and orchestrated a comeback win. If the 49ers lose, everyone will blame him. If the Chiefs lose, everyone will say the team let down Patrick Mahomes. That's the luxury you get when you're a top 5 QB with a ring versus a top QB without one. And not only is Purdy Mr. Irrelevant, but he went through an off-season elbow surgery that had his ability to start and even possibly play this season in question. Purdy upsetting the Chiefs would be astronomically huge for his NFL legacy. His poise is off the charts, but even Mahomes couldn't beat Brady before he became Brady. Physically, of course, too. This moment captured by Inside the NFL between Purdy and Nick Bosa is pretty cool.
Did you think you'd be this good? I think I've asked you this before. I know, but did you, how much confidence did you have? Because I was the second pick of the draft, and I lacked confidence.
See, in between clan meetings, Bosa's a sweet guy. That compliment, though, is all you need to know about Brock Purdy. He will have more passing yards and even more rushing yards than Patrick Mahomes in this game, but Mahomes will have more passing touchdowns. Unlike the Lions and the Packers, the Chiefs secondary is not to be fucked with, all right? The 49ers defense is pretty good, but not against Mahomes. That Chiefs defense, though, that's probably going to be the difference maker. George Karlaftis, with 2.5 sacks, has a half sack more than Nick Bosa this postseason. Nick Bolton has the most tackles. The Chiefs have a player in the top 2 of pretty much every single key category this postseason, but I'm looking to a banged up Dre Greenlaw for the 49ers, who is the only player with multiple picks this postseason to notch a turnover in this game to keep San Francisco in it. So here's my prediction, all right? Earlier in this video, I noted that Harrison Butker and his fellow specialists were out until the not-so-wee hours of the morning on the Vegas Strip. And surprise, surprise, the game script once again has this game coming down to the right foot of Mr. Butker, who won the Super Bowl with a field goal just a year ago. The 49ers will be trailing by 8 points late in the fourth quarter. Brock Purdy will orchestrate a legacy drive. Unlike Jimmy G, all those years ago, Brock will actually keep both of his eyes open when throwing the ball. Late in this game, after carefully moving the ball down the field, Christian McCaffrey will score a short touchdown with just 13 seconds left in the game. And then Brock Purdy will tie it up with a nifty scramble for the 2-point play. All the 49ers have to do is play defense for a couple plays, and the game will be the second in Super Bowl history to reach overtime. Not so fast. 13 seconds for Mahomes, we know what can happen. And after making each of his 3 field goal attempts earlier in the game, the nerves have finally gotten to Jake Moody. On the ensuing kickoff, he pulls a John Casey and kicks the ball 25 yards out of bounds. To make matters worse, the errant ball strikes the Chiefs' guest of honor on the sidelines, none other than Xavier Michael Babadar. You might know him better as that thieving Chiefsaholic. The ball hits his ankle monitor, which disables the device and frees the outlaw, who escapes Allegiant Stadium and goes on yet another crime spree. Ocean's Chiefsaholic, disgusted by the injustice that has taken place, and of course, by the fact that the Chiefs now have the ball at the 40-yard line. Kyle Shanahan takes off his flat-billed hat, spikes it onto the ground, into the playing field. A rare exhibition of passion for the head coach. The referees spot this and dock the Niners another 15 yards. Now Mahomes and the Chiefs offense have the ball at the 45 of San Francisco. 2 plays later, they're in field goal range, albeit a long field goal, albeit not that long for Butker, albeit kind of long considering how hungover he still is and how hungry Patrick Mahomes is after a 4-hour game. 58 yards, very fitting for the 58th Super Bowl. Butker is seeing 2 sets of uprights. Townsend can barely get his hands to stop shaking long enough to hold the ball. Winchester is dizzy from having to look in between his legs before the snap. Now, Peter Schrager has predicted the winner of the last 4 Super Bowls correctly before the season started. Don't get me wrong, that's pretty crazy. And he is certainly holding the script. But with sports betting at an all-time high, with this game being in Vegas, he is in on the script. He is in on the fix. And he will be wrong. Because he's supposed to be wrong. And just as his Super Bowl winner prediction streak started with the 49ers and Chiefs, here's where it does come to a halt. If it doesn't, then we know Schrager is Satan. 100% the devil incarnate. The snap is high, the ball shoots through Tommy Townsend's hands. It's a Super Bowl wasteland, and it's scooped up by former Chief corner Charvarius Ward, and we see the first Super Bowl ever won on a field goal return TD. Because we know an even hungover, possibly drunk Harrison Butker is nailing that thing. Kyle Shanahan knocks out the Goliath with McCaffrey, just like his father Mike did against the Packers with Ed McCaffrey, Christian's dad. CMC wins Super Bowl MVP. Oh, I forgot to mention, he had 190 all-purpose yards and 3 TDs. First running back to win the award since Terrell Davis. Andy Reid comes from the Mike Holmgren coaching tree. Shanahan defeated that tree, and Shanahan will stop it once again. Also, if you believe in curses, my friend Rachel, who drew all of those derpy NFL logos you love, made this one as well. It's the Chiefs' arrowhead destroying the curse wheel. The same curse wheel that had all of you in shambles all season long on my power ranking show. This is a bold thing to draw before the big game. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports Super Bowl prediction episode. Make sure you subscribe here, and if you haven't yet checked out the Lions Dan Campbell video, it is a banger.